a beautiful day here in the UK. Today I am going to be clearing my spring borders along here, which have got full of bluebells and primulas. We've had a very strange spring here. We had a very dry and cold April and then an extremely wet May. So now I'm hoping summer has finally arrived. We're right at the end of May, just tipping into our summertime. And so now is the time to do this for me. We've got lots of bluebells which are just going over. The ones on this side have already gone to seed and these ones are just going. So let me take you back about 6 to 8 weeks and just show you what was in this border then. So let me take you over and show you through the sea of magnolia petals. So the magnolia is just starting to go over. It's got a bit got by the frost this year, to the bed which I just let go for spring because it's kind of like a wild woodland experience over here in this corner. So we've got lots of primulas and then we have an entire carpet of bluebells which are not out on this side, but they are starting to come out actually. Look, there's a few. And then more primulas, an absolutely beautiful carpet of them. They're all self-seeded here. Some daffodils just going over, and then more bluebells over this side, which gets the morning sun. I think that's why. But I basically let this bed do its thing for spring, and it's very pretty. There's all sorts of things in here. We've got some hellebores there, and basically there are a lot of weeds in here, but they're kind of pretty weeds, so we let them grow at the moment. And then, as you'll see from the rest of the video, when all of this has gone over, and actually I might come back and show you when all of the bluebells are up so you can just compare. There's nothing, you cannot get rid of bluebells. I know you'd say, well, why would you want to? Well, they're very, very messy, as you can see, but you cannot get rid of them. So I'll come back and show you what these look like in a couple of weeks. Just to give you a bit of context of where the shady border is in the garden, there's the back of the house with the wisteria, and then we come around the greenhouse up there, and then we've got the glorious laburnum tree, which is in full flower as well, and then the pond, which this is all in full sun, and then we come around to the shady border, which is in this corner. Now it used to be even more shady, so it's got the magnolia, you can see the shadow of magnolia, and then it's got some a maple tree and some kind of mimosa tree, and then this stump used to be a cherry tree which I decided to get rid of about 18 months ago. It was, you can see the size of the stump, it was quite big, so that was up in this gap here, which now is letting a lot more light into this space. So it's not as shady as it used to be, but it still is north facing, so it doesn't get much light here. This stump, it was twice as high, and then I got my father-in-law to cut it in half again because it was just too high. So I'm going to put a pot on top of that with some trailing plants later, and the stump, which has some ivy growing in it, if you can see, will go into this border where I've got already lots of tree stumps, as you can see. So there are lots of hidden plants here. So we've got hostas and ferns and some other, oh, there's some foxgloves as well here, which you can't see because of all of the foliage from the spring bulbs. Now, because I'm in a garden, I can do what I want with my bluebells. Bluebells are native to the UK, and there are the old English bluebells, which I'll show you in a moment, and also Spanish bluebells, and then there are interbred bluebells, which are kind of halfway between both. I have got some English bluebells here, so I would never get rid of them because they are a quintessentially English plant, and in woodland they're actually protected, but when they're in your garden, The only thing you can't do is sell them, but you can clear them, move them, and I'm going to leave the bulbs on the ground, but I'm going to take the foliage away to neaten the border up. It doesn't affect them coming back in following years. In fact, I think they've got more and more prolific, so I'm not worried about doing this because I know it's not going to affect them for future years. Okay, so if we just look a little bit closer at the bluebells, we can see that this one here is an English type. It has a droopy head and all of the blooms are on one side of the stem, whereas some of the others, which I believe will be interbred Spanish with English, are more upright and the blooms are all the way around the stem. So they look quite different, and the English ones are more intensely blue, they're slightly darker, whereas the Spanish ones are paler. So there's a good example here. I mean, some of them have even gone white. I'm not sure how that happens, but look how pale blue that one is and more upright. So that's the difference. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the bulbs in the ground, but to tidy this border, and you can do it fairly quickly and very easily, so I'm going to get hold of all of the foliage and the flowers. So let's see if we can do it with this one, and pull it all up, and it will leave the bulbs in the ground. So get hold as much as you can and then pull. There we go. So that's pulled everything up, but it's left the bulbs in the ground. Now, I don't find this affects the regrowth at all. So these will come back exactly the same, if not more prolifically. And yeah, that's what I do. So I'm going to do that all the way across the border and neaten it up very quickly. Now, the second thing I'm going to do along here is to cut off all the primula leaves. Now, this is something my mother-in-law's been doing probably for the last 50 years, and it does not affect them coming back. So I don't want these leaves sitting here all summer. They just look messy. So a quick neaten up. I'm going to get hold of the whole plant again, and I'm going to cut off all the foliage like so, leaving the roots in the ground, and that will come back next year absolutely no problem. So now this border has been cleared, I'll give you a closer look what we have in here. So I haven't added any more plants at the moment. These were all hidden underneath that bulb foliage. So we've got a oak leaf hydrangea here, which will have white flowers on, hopefully. We've got some foxgloves coming up, and I will add some more. They also have white flowers. We've got lots of hostas, which are just starting to come up. They will fill out. That was the log that I've put in, and more hostas here, different ones. I really like the sort of dark green, mossy green one there. Now we've got lots of ferns in here. Some of them are evergreen, like the ones at the front, and then some of them die back. So the one in the pot on the left there, and then this one by the mirror, they die back, and so they're just starting to open, so they'll get a lot bigger. I've just popped these pots on here, but I will change that for something else. We've got a lovely fern in that pot there, just opening. Now this in the corner, I believe, is a mock orange, and that will be covered in tiny white flowers in a couple of weeks, which is beautiful in this border. So it's all about the green and the white in here for me, and texture. We've got variegated ivy there, more ferns here, and then this beautiful hosta. So yeah, this has been transformed just by removing that bulb foliage from a spring shady border into a summer shade woodland garden.